Hello, my friends. I come to you on a very painful subject. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. Barack Obama has committed another act of treason. Of course, it's treason to block for 70-plus days foreign oil skimming ships from coming into the Gulf. It's treason to block the states and the counties and cities from building their own sand berms and blocking them from expanding jetties that would protect the fisheries and estuaries. It's treason to continue George W. Bush's treason and treachery and give trillions of dollars to foreign offshore banks. And then Congress asked the president to force those private banks to say where the money's going, and he refuses to help. Look, I know Bush was bad, and Obama's even worse. And I'm sure that whoever comes after him is going to be even worse because this is just a progression of corruption. But the latest treason is just off the charts. This just came out a few hours ago. Feds sue to block Arizona illegal immigrant law. Let's cut through all the hype and go to the facts here. This is a mirror of the federal law, except it's been changed to deal with the state because the feds are derelict in their duty. And that's one of the few things the federal government's supposed to do. Issue the currency, the credit through Congress. That's given to the private Federal Reserve since 1913. They're also supposed to protect the border. They won't do that. But you've got federalized police all over the country outside their jurisdiction harassing citizens. And Mexico is a failed state. It's one of the most dangerous countries in the world to visit. U.S. citizens are kidnapped on the southwest border and inside Mexico and held for ransom, and our media covers it up. Mexico has some of the most draconian immigration laws in the world and the strictest in our hemisphere. I mean, Guatemalans that get caught sneaking in are kept for months in forced labor, and their families are extorted. But then we have tens of millions of illegal aliens from Mexico here in the United States, over 80 miles into Arizona. They've put up signs on highways and national parks for citizens to not go into it. Sheriffs all over Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas have been putting out SOSs calling for help, saying they've lost control of their counties. The drug cartels that have killed thousands of police in Mexico are now up here threatening to kill sheriffs who simply call for the feds to come in and restore order. The United States is being collapsed into the North American Union. Back in 2007, Judicial Watch sued and got the SPP, North American Union documents from the Banff, Canada meeting. And at that meeting, the Mexican, U.S., and Canadian government said they would use border crises as a pretext to sell amnesty and the end of all of our nation's borders. This is about a global corporate takeover of our nation. And the illegal aliens are being used as a political weapon and as a political tool to get that done. That's what Senator Kyle incredibly said just 3 weeks ago, that he was in a private meeting with President Obama, and he said, look, there's murders, there's kidnappings, there's death, the crime rate's exploding. There's an SOS from Arizona. Can you please at least put troops down there? And Obama said, I'm not going to do that because the crisis needs to get worse so I can have the amnesty plan. And Senator Kyle went on to say that that is this nation being held hostage.
I met with the president in the Oval Office, just the two of us. I kicked the rest of the people out. Here's what the president said. The problem is, he said, if we secure the border, then you all won't have any reason to support comprehensive immigration reform. In other words, they're holding it hostage.
And so the media likes to hype it up as if it's a racial issue or hype it as if it's discrimination. The government beats the hell out of citizens, treats citizens regardless of their color, or religion like trash. The only reason the border's open and illegal aliens are given a red carpet is because they're there to drive down wages and to vote as a political bloc that supports the integration of North America under this new tyrannical global corporate system known as the New World Order. But here's the key to this. You have SOSs coming out of Arizona from the governor and the sheriffs. The crime rate is just off the charts. Mexico is completely lawless with over 22,000 murders, many of them police in just the last 2 years. That's spilling across, and the federal government is coming in and suing the state on behalf of foreign invaders. And guess what? It just so happens that I have a copy of the U.S. Constitution here in front of me. And we're going to put this on screen. Article 11 of the U.S. Constitution. This was the first constitutional amendment added to the original Bill of Rights. This is the 11th Amendment. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. So if you read the 11th Amendment, it's clearly saying that the U.S. government cannot sue one of the 50 member states and that it cannot sue citizens of the states on behalf of a foreign power or foreign individuals because it's sedition, it's treason, high treason being implemented by the executive. This is something that the Founding Fathers were worried about. This was the first amendment added after the original Bill of Rights in 1795, just a few years after the Bill of Rights had been ratified. And that was because the states were worried about foreign powers coming in and lobbying and paying off federal officials to basically carry out lawsuits against citizens in the states or against the states. They were worried about globalism, mercantilism that they had at the time is what they called it. This federal lawsuit against the state of Arizona is illegal and is unconstitutional. And if you don't like the 11th Amendment, throw out the 14th, throw out the 13th, throw out the amendment saying black people aren't slaves, throw out the First Amendment that enshrines freedom of the press and assembly and religion, throw out the Second Amendment that defends our right to defend ourselves, throw out the Fourth Amendment against warrantless search and seizure, throw out the Fifth against self-incrimination, the 10th dealing with state sovereignty and individual sovereignty, the 9th that deals with the same thing. Oh, wait a minute. They are starting to throw out the First Amendment and the 4th and the 5th with the Patriot Act and the 10th. And so not only does this federal lawsuit against the state of Arizona violate the 10th Amendment, it clearly violates the 11th Amendment. But more than that, it violates common sense, and it shows that our government has become an enemy of the United States. It has become a special interest group robbing the people. There's one other point that I want to make about this, and I mentioned the sheriffs. We've got a link that we're going to post. We're going to post these links underneath this video here on YouTube. We hope you share it with everyone so they understand what's happening. Mexican drug cartel sends death threats to Arizona County Sheriff. Sheriff Babu has declined a personal security detail, but says he's armed and can take care of himself. He's a very brave man, because of those 20+ thousand people killed in the last 2 years in Mexico, thousands and thousands are police and military. And when the Mexican mafia and the drug cartels tell a sheriff that they're planning to kill him, this means they're going to try it. We've had U.S. embassy staff murdered in the last month. We've had U.S. citizens kidnapped on our side of the border. These drug cartels don't play games. And, of course, Obama and the Republicans and the entire treasonous federal government, because remember, Bush was trying all this amnesty as well, they understand that they're involved in treason. They know exactly what they're doing. And also under this video, we're going to post a link to Fox News where Geraldo has got a Marine Corps colonel admitting that our troops helped grow the opium and helped bring it to market. And so that shows how you've got the drug cartels, the coyotes, the illegal human smugglers, allied with the federal government, because it's also come out in Bloomberg that every major U.S. bank has been caught laundering billions of dollars of drug money, of heroin and cocaine money coming into this country. And so Obama doesn't want this stopped for a lot of reasons. He wants to get amnesty out of it, holding the American people hostage, but he also wants the drug money. That dovetails with another Fox News report, National Guard troops invading neighborhoods to fight drugs. And we have this blurbed up on Infowars.com. And they just calmly announce, Fox Focus, the war on drugs, the National Guard fighting a new battle in a neighborhood near you. So let me get this straight. The National Guard can't be put on the border to help these sheriffs and police and the citizens that are under siege. All of this is happening, and the treacherous globalist federal government won't put troops down there to protect the citizens or to stop the drugs. But it makes perfect sense because they're growing it in Afghanistan. So the federal government does everything it's barred by law from doing and does nothing they're charged by law to do as their duty. This is high treason. This is the essence of corruption. We have a government growing the drugs in Afghanistan. We have the U.S. banks on record in Bloomberg admitting that they're laundering billions of dollars of drug money knowingly. They won't put the troops on the border, but they're in Illinois, California, New York, and other places where they were first there to fight terrorists, standing around with M16s, acclimating you. Now they're violating federal law in the 1878 Posse Comitatus, because we know this means tyranny, going around door to door fighting drugs. They grow them in Afghanistan, and then they fight them in your neighborhood. This is just training you to have the military oppress you. America is going into classic hardcore tyranny. Wake up to those facts. Stand with Arizona and the other border states. The globalists are bringing in the North American Union. They are collapsing our nation by design. You've been given the facts. What are you going to do about it? If the globalists get away with this, the sky's the limit. This is high treason.